Now, I know that the Friday Night Funkin' vs. Radi mod dropped over a month ago, but the backstory of this mod is so good that I feel like I have to go back and explain it. In this video, I'm going to talk about why these kids are on the run, where they come from, and how Radi ended up getting his curse, aka a radioactive body. Now, the first fact that I want you to understand is that Radi and Lofie are brother and sister. Radi is somewhere between 20 and 22, while Lofie is 17 years old. And apparently these two are from a different universe called the Music Universe. Now, about 3 weeks before the start of the mod, apparently Radi and Lofie were kidnapped by a person named Isra. And Isra is the leader of a band called the Deadly Music. Now, another important fact about Isra is that he's also known as the genre eater, and this doesn't make sense if you don't actually know the backstory of the universe that they're from. Basically, the music universe has this thing where certain citizens actually have superpowers that are called genre abilities. And people who wield this power basically have their own ability and music skills that derives from a music genre. Now, Radi in particular has one that's called the dubstep. Now, I imagine that this dubstep ability must be pretty rare because Isra goes out of his way to kidnap not only Radi, but his sister in order to do experiments on Radi, where basically he extracts his genre from him. The sad part here though is that it's not like he can just suck it out with a syringe or something like that. He literally has to take part of Radi's soul, basically leaving him half dead. And Isra actually put that part of his soul into a character named Ara, which apparently is supposed to be the main antagonist for chapter 2 of this mod, meaning that we'll definitely be getting an update. Now, the one good part of this story is that after they actually take part of his soul, they don't just go ahead and unalive him. They actually put him and his sister in cages and just leaves them there. And this actually gives Lofie, the little sister, a chance to actually break out using a hairpin, and she's able to basically escape with her brother. And this is kind of a big deal for Lofie because her brother is literally out of it right now. He can barely move himself, so she's basically having to drag him through this whole facility in order to save both of them. And they end up finding a teleportation circle that takes them to a different universe. And it so happens to be Boyfriend's universe. I think the first sign that they find is actually called Norfunk City, and I assume that that is the city that Boyfriend and Girlfriend actually reside in. Now, the first person that they meet when they get to this new universe is a person named Sumuri, and he basically acts as a friend for these two and offers them a place to sleep and also healing for the brother Radi. Now, this is where the story gets a little bit interesting and starts to connect with the Friday Night Funkin' universe a little more directly. Once Radi is actually fully healed, he decides to go for a walk and he finds this old theater. He notices that there are spray cans right outside of it, so he picks them up and he actually starts to tag on the wall. Right at that moment is actually when Daddy Dearest just ended up getting beat by Boyfriend in their first battle with each other. So Daddy Dearest actually walks out of the theater and he's already feeling bad because he just lost a rap battle to Boyfriend, and he sees Radi spray painting on his wall. Now, I'm not saying that what Daddy Dearest does next is right, but he does tell Radi to stop spray painting, and Radi basically ignores him, kind of blows him off, and then Daddy Dearest puts a curse on Radi. The curse basically changes his whole body structure, meaning that he is now radioactive and his body is basically acid. In the actual story, it literally says that Radi tries to go after Daddy Dearest, and when he touches his sleeve, the whole sleeve just basically disintegrates. And it seems that Daddy Dearest was going to attack Radi after Radi came after him, but Radi was able to get away safely, which is good for him because a lot of people I think forget just how strong Daddy Dearest is. And if anybody knows how many people Daddy Dearest has cursed up to this point, put it down in the comments, because I know for sure Tabby has been cursed, and I know Radi's been cursed, and I feel like there's a couple of more people who have also been cursed. Put them down in the comments. Now, after Radi ends up getting cursed, he basically leaves his sister without telling her because he doesn't want to end up hurting her in any type of way. And this is a huge deal, especially when you know their backstory. Basically, when Radi was 5 years old and Lofie was only a baby, they actually lost their parents. Now, while Lofie wasn't old enough to understand what was going on, Radi was just at that age where he understood the gravity of losing his parents. Now, Radi was obviously heartbroken by this, but the way that he channeled that energy was by promising his little sister that he would always be there to protect her. Because of course, at that point and all the way up until the present day, they are their only two remaining family members. And due to the trauma of losing his parents and not wanting to lose his sister, he actually developed a fear called xanthophobia, which is basically the fear of dying. But something that's kind of heartwarming in a very sad way is that he's not just afraid of dying because he doesn't know what comes after, but he's afraid of dying because he knows that he will leave his sister all by herself. So while Radi does come off a little rough around the edges, he's actually a really good brother. Their relationship reminds me a lot of like Sullivan and Razazi. And something else I find very heartwarming here is that while Radi obviously cares about his little sister, it's nice to see that Lofie also equally cares for her brother as well. We see in the mod that she's basically spent the whole day and now into the night looking for her brother, just talking to random people on the street. And she seems to be determined to find her brother no matter what. Now, something interesting in this mod is that Radi ends up going against Boyfriend. And of course, Boyfriend is his normal goofy self, right? And he doesn't recognize how much danger that he's actually in going against Radi. And even though Radi is constantly telling him and girlfriend to get out, to leave him alone, right? Part of that is because he's afraid that people will find out this hideout that he's in. And also he doesn't want to hurt anybody, which again goes to this idea that he actually does have a big heart. He's not just a villain or some edgy kid, right? But the craziest thing that comes to light from his battle with Boyfriend is that when he actually loses control, he doesn't just hurt the people around him, but he also hurts himself. So the radioactive body, the acid, all that stuff actually does damage to him as well. And this again just goes to show how powerful Daddy Dearest is and also how evil he really is. Now I haven't done this in a while, but for these characters I want to give a couple of fun facts because they do have a couple of interesting ones. Starting out with Radi, and this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but he is definitely obsessed with Monster energy drinks. It almost looks as if his outfit is inspired by it low-key. Apparently before Radi was kidnapped, he actually went to a music school on his home planet. And as far as his sexuality goes, he is pansexual. Now, the most interesting fact about this guy, in my opinion, though, is that he's actually close friends with Void. Some of you guys may remember this mod. I think they had an updated version come out a few months ago. So basically, Radi ended up going to one of Void's performances, and while Void was on stage doing his thing, Radi wasn't really feeling it. So he was in the crowd, not really looking interested, and then a spotlight actually shone down on him because Void noticed this. At this point, Void basically challenged Radi to a rap battle, and when Radi got on stage, it looked like they were about even at first, but Radi actually turned out to be a better artist than Void. Meaning that if Radi really wanted to, he could have embarrassed Void on stage in front of all of his fans. But since Radi is actually a pretty good person, he decided not to embarrass him and he lost the rap battle on purpose. The thing that I really like about this story is that at the end of it all, Void actually goes up to Radi and thanks him for not embarrassing him on stage, and the two of them actually gain a friendship like that because now they kind of both have a mutual respect for each other. Now, some fun facts about Lofie include that her favorite drink is actually bubble tea. Make sure to put your favorite flavor down in the comments. She's also a huge fan of spicy chicken ramen. It also seems that Lofie is just a regular girl, or at least as far as we know, because unlike her brother, she wasn't experimented on at all. The orange scarf that Lofie's actually wearing in the mod was a gift from her mother, and it's the only gift that she was able to get from her mother before she passed away. Now, one more thing that I want to acknowledge here is that a lot of people are making connections between Nakuza and also the brother and sister here. And while technically they are both stick figures, they're from different universes. So there's definitely no relation between the siblings here and Nakuza. And to put simply, these two siblings are basically just regular humans just from a different universe, while Nakuza is more like a deity. Now, for people who really love this mod, apparently the new update is already 77% complete, so I assume that means that the next version of this mod will be coming out in the near future. And all we know so far about this new update is that apparently the main antagonist is supposed to be Ari, and she's apparently a queen, and she's also an assassin, which is a very interesting combination. And even though she does look like Radi and her sister, she's not classified as being a stick figure person. Apparently she's a candle humanoid, which is why she has this flame coming out of her head. And I'm hoping that in this new update, we get to understand why Ari is the one that actually received that half of Radi's soul. Because as of right now, we don't really know why they were pursuing him and why his dubstep ability was so important. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on the screen here, subscribe today to become a member of the Orseofkorse, and we'll see you tomorrow with another video. Peace, peace.